Hello and welcome back to the podcast. We are catching up on some Valentine's Day topics after missing last week's episode. We're going to read a couple Shady Valentine stories at the end of this episode, but also in this week's bonus content, we're going to be going over some more Valentine Shady stories, and there are some good ones. So if you want to see that, make sure you join the Patreon bonus content. But for now, let's get into what we missed while we were away, including our own Valentine's Day, which I kind of have a little funny story. But first of all, we both just went to dinner.
We simply went to dinner. Nothing crazy, nothing out of the ordinary.
Honestly, it was funny too, because when I was making the plans, I was like, I fear we do this regularly. So yes. I don't know if it was any kind of special Valentine's Day situation.
100%. I mean, Brian and I, we go to the same restaurant every Valentine's Day, and we don't typically go there. So a little crazy,
out of the ordinary for you.
A little out of the ordinary. I did dress up, which is very out of the ordinary. I fear I never dress up. There's very few and far in between times where I wear jeans. This was not one of them. I wore a skirt, which was really crazy because I don't wear skirts ever either.
That was a plot twist I didn't see coming.
No, yeah. I was going to wear jeans, and then I was like, but I could do a little skirt with a
really
big sweater.
Stepped it up this year.
I stepped it up. I stepped out. Brian didn't know who I was.
I fear, I attempted to get dressed. I also wore maternity jeans.
Aww.
And, I will say, though, that by the time I got ready for dinner, which, again, I don't really get ready anymore. So by the time I, fully got ready for dinner, by the time we got there, I was down bad. I was in pain. My back pain has been out of control. So I was like, wow, this is, I fear this was a tough situation. However, I will say that it was made better because, you guys, we're sitting at this Valentine's dinner, and when we get there, Evan's like, oh, do you guys have a regular old fashioned? And he said that because on the menu they have a couple of fancy options of old fashions with twists.
Niche specific.
So he was like, do you have a regular old fashioned? Which in the moment we did not realize. The waitress heard it as a double old-fashioned. So we didn't know. We thought he ordered a regular.
Yeah.
So anyways, he gets it. We're sitting there. We honestly sat at dinner for 2 hours. So he gets the first one, and he's like, wow, this is pretty strong. And he's like, they also filled it up really high. And I'm like,
oh, my goodness.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, maybe they're just being nice for Valentine's Day, giving a little extra or whatever. I didn't think anything of it.
Funny.
So we're sitting there, an hour goes by. He finishes that one. So he's like, I'll get another one, if we're hanging out.
Why not?
Which, again, 2 cocktails at Valentine's dinner.
That's what I did. I had 2 glasses of wine.
Drink for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he didn't have a DD. So he gets another one. And again, he's like, wow, they are really filling them up tonight.
They're really being generous.
And so I'm like, yeah, wow, that's cool. Maybe also they feel bad because, I can't drink. So they're, giving him a little extra.
Could you imagine?
Well, the waitress did, a couple times, talk about, do you want dessert? Because whatever, she noticed I was pregnant. And so I was like, oh, maybe she's being, nice.
She's being nice.
So anyways, we get the bill, and I look at it, and I'm like, oh, my God, Evan, those were doubles.
That's crazy.
He's like,
crazy
what?
behavior.
And, I could tell,
he
was,
a little.
I could tell he was feeling himself a little bit, too, but I was just whatever, 2 cocktails at dinner, you might be.
Yeah.
But so he was like, what do you mean they were doubles? He's like, I didn't order that. And I was like, I don't know, it says it right here. And so he immediately starts panicking because he's like, oh my God, that's why they were so big. Did I just have 4 cocktails at dinner?
God, yeah.
So he's panicking. And I'm like, no, it's fine. Anyways, we get home and it totally hit him. We come home, he takes care of the dogs, whatever. And then he's sitting in his office, in his chair, And it kind of like went quiet, and I was sitting in the living room, and I'm like, what is he doing in there?
Yeah, what's he up to?
I go in there, he's sleeping in the chair.
That's hilarious.
I'm like, wow, those really hit you. And so like he wakes up and he's like, what? Was I sleeping? I'm like, dude, no more doubles for you. He's like, I didn't order those. He felt like so bamboozled and betrayed.
Yes.
Like by the restaurant, but like they thought he ordered
They thought
that.
they were just getting him the drink that he ordered.
Correct.
Which is wild behavior. I have not ordered a double since college because I learned very quickly that doubles at a college bar are very different from doubles in
A restaurant setting?
any day world, even bars outside of college towns. In our college town, we had at one of the bars, it was on Thursday nights, $2 doubles. So you could get a double for $2. And at the time, I just thought that was a typical drink.
Yeah, that should be illegal.
It should be illegal.
I also vividly remember like finally being 21 and thinking that every drink you ordered had to be a double because like you didn't want to wait in line again, and like everybody kind of like that was just such the norm.
It was
at the
a norm
time.
to get a double, and I would get, I fear, $2 doubles when I would walk into the bar. We would all get
Double
there.
fist
Yes,
of doubles.
yes, because the bar, it was like it connected to a club, and in the bar it would get really crowded. There was only like one L-shaped bar, and then there was another side of it where there was a bunch of booths, and you wanted to get your drinks, get over to the booth so you could
Like
claim
sit
your
and-
spot
yeah.
for the night. And I would get $2 doubles, and I would trot over to the little booth, and that's where I would stay until we got up from said booth and went to the club at the end of the night. Maybe did I make a few more trips to the bar here and there? Probably.
For the $2 doubles.
Yes.
That's a great deal though, honestly.
was
It should
great.
not be allowed.
They had like a $5 burger basket too, where you get like a burger and fries between like certain hours. It was
God, I miss college.
it was wonderful.
That's crazy.
Couldn't
Yeah.
do it today.
No, I know. Well, now, I mean, it's not, you don't order it up. Like, you don't order a double at a bar. Like,
I think the only time I've ordered a double since college was not long after college at an airport on my way to Chicago.
that's alarming.
It was so alarming. It was when I went with two of our friends. It was a trip I met Brian on.
No way.
I was with Nicole and Seth.
You were unhinged.
I think we all were. And we got, I fear we got one drink at the bar, and then we had a double to like chug before we got on the flight. And
That is so risky. I won't, like,
it was so risky.
here's the thing. I am all for a good airport beer. Like, you know.
That was
I
out
mean,
of control.
It's been a long time, but that's what we used to do.
We loved an airport
But
beer.
I can say that I can't understand getting like drunk before a flight. I feel like I would panic.
It was weird
Like
behavior.
I need to move around when I'm
I felt like
drinking.
everyone was staring at us, and everyone knew that like we were just like
You were like
pounding drinks.
paranoid.
I did get a little paranoid on the flight. Polar opposite on the way back. But down bad. Down bad. We barely made it on that flight.
I remember you saying that. Yeah, that was
That was a time.
doubles were an interesting time in our lives, and I fear that that's in the past now. I won't say I never after college had a double because there was a extensive
Right, the
period of
handful of
time where
time.
like we were kind of like
We went through a phase.
we went through a phase
post-college.
post college. Yeah, but after that though,
Did we order doubles back in those days? I don't even remember what we drank. When like
I don't think we were that bad actually though, because we talk about this sometimes too, how like seltzers and like White Claws and High Noons and all that
Those
didn't
were
exist
not
when we were in college.
non-existent when I was in college.
And I feel like that's just unfair because we had to learn the hard way.
yes.
And I
Yes.
feel like if we would have had seltzers, we wouldn't have gotten
As wild.
doubles.
Yeah,
like
no.
this.
I don't think we ever would have really experienced doubles in college if it weren't for us not having seltzers. And then we
Correct.
were able to transition into seltzers post-college, which
Correct.
felt very mature of us.
And it wasn't like a choice we necessarily consciously made, but I think it was good.
I'm really curious to, like, college bars nowadays, do
Right.
they order seltzers or do they still order doubles and liquor? Because I feel like liquor was the drink of choice in college. But I fear it's not like that anymore because seltzers are so great.
That's what I kind of wonder. But I also feel like no matter what, if you were going to like house parties or frat parties or whatever, they probably don't necessarily stock up on seltzers because that wouldn't be like the economical thing to do.
No, not at all.
So,
and it's hard to travel with. If like you're going out, you're going to a frat and anticipating like maybe hopping around to multiple house parties, you can't really carry a cooler.
You really
or
can't carry
multiple with
anything
you.
around.
No, you're not supposed to. But if you have a purse and or non-clear backpack that you can put it in, I'm not recommending that because that's not the law. But
no,
if
I feel like that would
forgot
be just as easy to carry around as
seltzers, but it'd get heavy. Don't you
I
think?
guess. Not specifically.
I don't know. I had to get a little backpack in college. It was like
For what?
for
You're exposed.
things that I needed to carry around for my books.
Exactly. Obviously for books,
Pencils,
reading,
calculator, my keys.
I can't even think of anything.
What do you
I can't
use
even
in
think of
college?
anything
College life was just different.
educational. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. How many times have you realized you signed up for something, forgot about it after the trial period ends, and then you were charged month after month after month for something you weren't even using? Well, you're not alone. 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. But thanks to Rocket Money, that doesn't have to be the case. That's why I love Rocket Money. With Rocket Money, you can see all of your subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones you're not using anymore, and save money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money's dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all of your accounts. The app also allows you to easily create a personalized budget with custom categories to help you keep your spending on track. See your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/shady today. That's rocketmoney.com/shady. rocketmoney.com/shady. Thank you to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's episode. Yeah, so anyways, that was our little Valentine's Day. Speaking of Valentine's Day, though, we need to bring this up because I've been seeing this all over TikTok. This little controversy that bakers are upset that Walmart is making the heart-shaped cakes now. And first of all, when I first found out that Walmart was doing this, I was like, it's about time. Like, I've been waiting.
Right. Finally.
And I was shocked that they weren't really doing it before, to be honest.
I was as well. I actually was surprised when I first started seeing ads about their heart-shaped cakes. They were advertising at, what are they, $20? $18-20, something very financially responsible, financially friendly.
Yes. And I will say this too. So the whole problem is that bakers are upset because Walmart is doing it in a cheaper way, which their argument is like, well, you're getting cheaper ingredients, you're not getting the quality time that goes into it, whatever. But also, I feel like for a lot of people, not only does that make way more sense than spending $200 on a cake, but
easily.
also, like, even when we do stuff, sometimes you just want to be able to go grab one and not have to order it weeks in advance. And, like,
1,000%. You don't want it to have to be an entire long process where you have to reach out to someone, talk to them about exactly what you want. You just want to be able to pick it up quick and get on with your way.
Right. And so, but these bakers were upset about the whole situation.
They were, but I think the worst of it was there was a video. I saw it when it was live. It may have been taken down now, but I've seen recordings of it since, where one baker, and maybe it wasn't just them, maybe it was multiple, said that having a birthday cake is a luxury.
And I fear that that's just not
not the case. That is so far from the truth.
And it definitely should not be.
It's like the claim that like hairdressers have, that getting your hair done is a luxury. Having a birthday cake is not a luxury. You should be able to get an affordable birthday cake. No birthday cake needs to be $200+.
Right. If you want to have that experience and do
You
that and
can.
customize something so extensively, good. I'm glad that's an option for people. But also to like crap on people for like wanting a more affordable option is crazy. But
it's wild.
it was also weird because the employees that work at Walmart and that bake the cakes do have to like decorate and bake the cakes.
Yeah,
It's
they are in fact bakers. It's not like somebody is coming in and taking their job. Not every baker wants to be an entrepreneur and have their own home bakery or open up a bakery. Some just want to clock in to their bakery job at Walmart and clock
and
out.
make heart-shaped cakes.
And that's totally fine.
I agree. I didn't really see the whole necessary drama on this.
No,
I mean,
but I think most people are on the same page of the home bakers that are saying the Walmart cakes are a problem are the problem. Walmart is not the problem, to be clear.
the bakers there.
Yes. The
The
bakers
cakes.
that are complaining about the Walmart cakes
Oh.
are the problem,
Okay.
to be.
Interesting. Yeah, I only saw a couple videos and I mostly saw like spoofs of people voicing
I love a
over
spoon of
like
cake.
voicing over cake things and pretending they're like angry bakers being like F those cakes, whatever. Taking it too far, but
So good.
it was pretty funny. Well, speaking of being pissed, we are still upset that the Lions were not in the Super Bowl. And it's crazy because I feel like we've talked to you guys since the Super Bowl occurred. However,
I thought so too. We haven't.
we have not.
Which is wild. But you know what's crazier is the Super Bowl and Valentines were in the same week.
Technically.
Technically Sunday, if you're counting your week Sunday to Friday as some do. Some people have their weeks Monday
In
to
my
Sunday.
mind, it's Monday to Sunday, but also I understand that it's Sunday to Sunday.
Yes. So almost in the same week, but depending on how you view your weeks.
I don't like that that's optional.
It is optional. It's like, have you seen online people saying people view their years differently and like how they break up the month?
Yes.
I've never really thought about it that deeply. How do you see the year?
I don't know.
I don't know if I see it in 3 months at a time or 6 months at a time. I think I'm just taking it 1 month at a time right now.
That's how I feel.
Right.
I can't capacitate in my mind. That wasn't even a word. In my mind, I can't fathom anything longer than a month.
I actually, you know what? I think mine breaks into more like almost like seasons. So I would group like January, February, March, all kind of the same. April, May, different. They're their own. June, July, August, summer. They're their own little set. September, October, their own set. November, December, they're their own set.
So, okay.
So different than anyone
That's
else.
wild, yeah.
Unique. An original thought.
Perhaps. I mean, I do fear that kind of sounded seasonal, but
Seasons and new concepts.
but no, it's a new concept, obviously.
Obviously.
Well, this feels like a lifetime ago. So we watched together.
Forever ago. We've just lived a lot of lives.
I know.
We have had a lot going on.
Well, the Chiefs lost, so that was ultimately the main takeaway of the whole situation.
What a stupid, boring game. If I'm being so bold as to say so.
I think a lot of people felt that
It
way.
was that's I think my least favorite thing about the Super Bowl is I feel like more times than not it's not even an exciting game to watch, and I'm not just saying that because the Lions weren't in it. That may be part of it. But I feel as if there are so many games throughout the season that are actually entertaining, riveting. Shit's happening on the field. Not riveting. But it's actually engaging to watch, whereas this football game just felt boring.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't fully pay attention to mostly any of it. But
I watched like half.
that's good.
I like sat at the table. Chit-chatted,
you were definitely
eating
more.
snacks.
I was mostly eating and chatting.
I had to migrate away from all the dips. We had
so many dips.
so many dips, which they were all terrific. But I said, what am I doing? I can't keep doing this.
I do think the more I host, the more dips
There's
that get involved.
That's very true. I would say you probably add on another dish or dip.
Mostly
per
dip
occasion.
per occasion.
But the dip is what people want.
I did a dill pickle dip this time with
It was
some
impressive.
help.
Yes,
with some
chef.
help of
Yes, staff.
You guys should have seen this. We had a couple friends come over beforehand, including Brittany, to like help us set things up.
Yeah.
And you would have thought, I mean, they asked me, what do you need help with? So I delegated.
We said, put us to work.
I delegated a couple tasks to a couple people. And then all of a sudden it was turning into, yes, chef. Yes, chef. I wasn't trying to
no, you were
control the kitchen that way.
Because you were being so nonchalant too. You're like, oh, if you want, like, you can do this and
like,
that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
If we turned it into our own thing. Yeah, chef.
And then like people started arriving as they were doing this. And I'm just like, oh my God, they probably think I'm like telling them to do stuff. And I really wasn't. But anyways, the dips turned out great.
No, they were delicious.
Best part of that day. Also, the halftime show was great. And I found this out not too long ago that this was the most watched Super Bowl halftime show in NFL history with over 133.5 million viewers.
That's so impressive.
Which again, we always do this, but like, is this the amount of TVs that were turned on? Is this the amount of actual eyeballs? How do we know how many viewers there were? Because like at our TV, is that one viewer? Because there was like 100 eyeballs.
There were like.
Well, there wasn't 100, but maybe like.
There was like 30 eyeballs. Yeah, roughly 30.
Okay, so is
32.
Did ours count as 30 or 1? That's what I want to know. Like, how do they get these numbers?
I've never thought about anything like that. And this is a data point that's used like
regularly.
And
especially like Netflix, when we talk about that, it's like, well, how do you know how many people like actually
are being impacted?
Watched it or streamed it or just like.
No, I understand because it's different with movies. You can like quantify that per ticket.
Correct.
And then you know how many eyeballs are watching. But with this,
correct.
Who's to say it was really, and who's the 0.5 human? Who's the only?
Well, 0.5 million. Oh. So it would be half. Yeah.
I gotta go. So,
I'm rubbing off on you.
Who's the 0.5? It's me. It's my dumbass.
These days, one might argue.
Oh my gosh, no.
We are
becoming
5.
one and the same.
Today's episode is brought to you by Rula. We're no strangers to catching up on all the drama going on in pop culture and in our own lives. So we know firsthand that sometimes venting with your friends is great, but sometimes it's not enough. Finding a professional to help you work through your experiences is so important, and with Rula, it's now easier than ever. That's why I love Rula. Rula is a telehealth healthcare company that has made mental health care more convenient and accessible for millions of people. Rula partners with a network of over 10,000 therapists and psychiatrists nationwide, enabling you to find your personalized solution and the right therapist for you, based on your needs, preferences, and state requirements. Rula is there every step of the way, making sure you get quality end-to-end care, from ensuring providers are carefully screened and vetted, to helping you monitor and track your progress in reaching your therapy goals. And Rula takes most major insurance plans, and the average copay is only $15 per session, so you can get the quality care you need when you need it at a price you can afford. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head on over to rula.com/shady to get started today. After you sign up, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that our show sent you. Go to rula.com/shady and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. Thank you to Rula for sponsoring today's episode. There was also some good commercials. I didn't fully pay attention, but Brittany says Pringles and Little Caesars had the same creative concept.
They sure did.
Which was...
So...
Was it like the eyebrows flying away?
Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
Oh, good.
That was Little Caesars, and then Pringles, the mustache flew away.
That makes sense.
And that's exactly what I said, was for Pringles, that makes sense for their marketing. Little Caesars kind of just played off of their celebrity. Forgive me, I forget exactly who it was.
Yes, the guy from Schitt's Creek.
Yep, he has the
And he's
eyebrows.
a huge actor, and I know him from way more than Schitt's Creek, and
But that's
also
just what
can't
you
think
like
of.
associate them with
Yeah.
right now. That's totally fine. So that was one of my big takeaways.
It's not fine.
And that's all I really
Eugene
have on
Levy.
commercials.
That was all you had about commercials. That's good. I mean, I didn't have much to say. What I will say is, what's Pringles' latest flavor, and why have they not done dill pickle yet?
I bet they have. I'm gonna
think
Google
so?
it as we.
That's my only input
Pringles.
on that. Speaking of Super Bowl commercials, though, there was some controversies last few weeks with Poppy versus Olipop, and they did some Super Bowl marketing.
Yep, they sure did.
That kind of got them into some trouble. This was Poppy that did this.
Do you want to hear something first, though?
Yeah.
They have dill pickle Pringles.
Do they?
Yeah, they actually have a lot. They did a collab with Hot Ones. And then get this, everyone. Get this. They also have an everything bagel crisp Pringle. They have a Philly cheesecake Pringle.
Philly cheesecake?
Yeah.
Cake. You mean steak?
Yep, that one.
Oh.
That's what Philly cheesesteak. Honey mustard.
Ew.
All dressed. Bourbon barbecue.
I'm seeing a lot of options on there.
Shut up. They have, this is the cutest thing ever. Mingles. Pringles Mingles, which is a puffed snack.
Oh, cute.
That's actually adorable. And there's a dill pickles flavor of that. I love learning new things.
Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. Back to Poppy.
So there's lots of flavors. Well, there's lots of flavors. There's Poppy versus Olipop. So they got into some trouble because Poppy sent vending machines filled with their sodas to 32 influencers. And we're talking full on size vending machines.
Right.
And so people were like, what the hell is going on? What do these people need this at their house for?
No, they really don't. I mean, I could see doing like a mini vending machine, like almost like smaller than a mini fridge, like the little makeup fridges that you get, something like that. Would
Just
be
branded.
Cute. Yeah, that would be cute. Reasonable. People could use that. They could put it, I don't know, literally they could put it in their room, wherever they want in the house. This vending machine, I mean, I understand that some people have room for that, but like, where do you put a vending machine in your
I feel
home?
like a lot of people were having to put it in their garages because
they had no other space for it.
Right. The whole thing was just kind of extravagant, to say the least. And people were just saying, like, this would have been such better marketing if they would have put these vending machines as, like, pop-ups in public spaces for people to go kind of, like, scavenger hunt and find them.
Yes, and try the new
flavor. And I totally feel like that's true. Like, they missed the mark with that. This should have been something to involve way more people.
Yep.
And then Olipop, which is like the, direct competitor, got involved because they started commenting, like saying how much these vending machines would cost about, and kind of like putting their 2 cents in of like how this wasn't right.
Yep.
And
that was bold of them. They were directly, it wasn't even a little bit of shade. It was a lot of bit of shade. Because they were right in Poppy's comments.
Yeah, it was. Neither of these I've never really had. I think I've tried like one or two, but I'm not like ingrained in either of these brands. So like I didn't really
into these brands. Like,
well, I found that out too because they just did like some collab where they dropped merch with Target. Like I saw like they did like some people are really into.
They really love these prebiotic, probiotic, whatever it necessarily is. I just like the good old fashioned
fashion. You sounded so Midwest.
Fashion, Coke
good old
Zero.
Fashion.
I like a nice crisp Pepsi. I can't speak, y'all.
It's been a minute.
It's tough out here.
Here's what I will say overall, though, regardless of how much of a miss this potentially was for them, I feel like both brands totally just like got so much more marketing out of this.
They did get a lot more awareness
than anyone paid for, because realistically at the end of the day, I think it was like over 100 million impressions, which was like more than anyone who would have watched the commercials or whatever. And now they both kind of capitalized on this moment. So regardless of, what do they say? No press is bad press. they ended up getting so much more exposure for
100%.
this being like a bad choice.
100%.
So interesting that was viral for the last few weeks. And speaking of viral, this was so touching. So I don't know if you guys have heard about the anglerfish, who, if you don't know what that is, you know, in Finding Nemo, the little fish with the light on its head in the deep depths.
I sure do know what you're talking about.
That's an anglerfish. And supposedly, an anglerfish was caught rising up from the deep, deep levels of the sea, going to the surface. And this has never really been caught on film before. So
Never.
People didn't even know they could really do this or make this journey. And came up to the surface and ultimately did end up passing away. There's a couple surprising points of this. One, it is so tiny.
I pictured them, and especially in Finding Nemo,
They made them look so scary.
so scary and so big. I thought like at least the average size of a shoebox, roughly,
Okay.
is what I would have pictured. But they're tiny.
They're so tiny.
They're just like a little itty baby.
They are. And
Like, how did its little fins swim all the way to the top of the ocean? That's a big journey.
it is. And a lot of people, and I agreed that maybe we're putting human emotions onto the fish that maybe it didn't have, maybe it did.
No, I think it had the emotion. This is a
I think
Pixar
so.
film waiting to happen.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I may have teared up
I teared
quite a
up
bit
when
over
they
the
said,
story.
and for my last day, I'll see the light. And for the first time, I'll see a light that I did not create. I felt that.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah,
it was
that's
it was
deep.
tough to hear. And so people think that maybe it was sick or maybe it knew it wasn't going to be here long, so it decided to make the journey and take the risk to go see the light because they live in the darkness and go to the surface and see the light. And it
was
got me.
beautiful. It really got me. I feel like my life has changed. It gave me new perspective and a new love and appreciation for anglerfish.
And who would have thought that
Not me,
a
because
little
they
fish
were pretty scary in Finding
the size
Nemo.
of a tennis ball.
Right. Just a little baby. And I really hope that somebody makes a short film that was inspired by this brave anglerfish. Because I want to see like a full journey. Like, we'll never know, but I want to know like what other people think could have happened. You know?
Why he went to the surface?
Yeah, why I went to the surface, what happened,
Well,
what that journey up was like. Because that had to have taken a while. That's not something you do in a day.
and that's what people were saying, is like, how did it make it all the way with like no other fish interfering or like
Right.
eating it or like
Right, or
getting
being
involved.
like puzzled, like what's
Yeah.
going on? I've never seen you before.
Yeah. So R.I.P. to the anglerfish.
In my mind, it just did a straight shot up.
Me too.
Which is like, and just like traveled and then eventually made it to the surface.
That's like probably a long shot, but like maybe.
Yeah, in my mind, like there was no zigzags, there was no detours. It was
Same.
traveling to
Like
the
a
light.
slow rise.
Yeah.
However,
slow rise.
I do fear like if it truly was making this journey for the first time, wouldn't it get distracted along the way and be like, oh wow, what's that? I've never seen that before.
I mean, if it was you and I,
Yes.
yes. But this fish seemed kind of determined, so maybe clear mission.
Okay. Let's take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's episode, Shopify. Building a business can seem like a daunting task, and often when starting out, it's easy to find yourself comparing your business to super successful businesses and asking yourself how they've achieved the level of success that they have today. Want to know a secret? Oftentimes the answer to that is actually simple. It's the business behind the business that drives success, and for millions of companies, that business is Shopify. That's why I love Shopify. As important as it is to have a good product, cool brand, and good marketing, at the end of the day, you need your business to have a way that makes selling and buying simple, and that's Shopify. Shopify's e-commerce platform is home to the #1 checkout on the planet, allowing customers to shop on the web, in-store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. And with the option for customers to use Shop Pay, you can boost customer conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales for your business. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Just a Little Shady podcast uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/shady, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/shady to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/shady. Thank you to Shopify for sponsoring today's episode.
Hard to say.
Anyways, RIP to the anglerfish. And speaking of RIP, ABC has canceled The Bachelorette for this year.
Ooh, tough time to be on The Bachelor this season. All of those girls who were hoping to be in the next Bachelorette.
That put up with so much crap.
Dreams dead. That's the first thing I thought of. Unfortunately, when they said The Bachelorette was canceled, was tough season to be on The Bachelor. Tough season to be a runner-up.
Right, because usually they pick somebody from The Bachelor to go on The Bachelorette that, like, didn't win.
Right. So, fortunately for those girls, Bachelor in Paradise is coming back this summer, which is sooner than later. I feel like typically Bachelor in Paradise is it airs in the fall. I've always thought it should air in the summer. Like, they should film it throughout the winter, have it premiere in the summer. Feels more fitting, feels fun. But yeah, we don't know if it's allegedly it's not canceled for good. It's just taking a hiatus, but
which is a wild thing to do if that's the case. Like, what are they gonna do to fill that space? I guess they're gonna have to do something. But it's just interesting because we were just talking about how, like, The Bachelor kind of
was gonna have a revamp, and then we
withdrew
our statement,
and now here we are
being correct. We're being correct.
Okay. Well, also, something we will not be watching or haven't watched, but we did see a bunch of stuff on this. I didn't realize this was happening. SNL had their 50-year anniversary. No.
Oh my gosh, I've gotten like a million TikTok ads of, you know how they're like signature ad online is the sticky notes with the person's name.
Who's gonna be on?
There was promo, and it was like giant sticky notes in New York. Like, it wasn't real. They just used AI or whatever to make them, of all of the, special guests that were going to be there. And Jimmy Fallon hosted. I didn't watch. I just have seen mainly Domingo resurfacing onto
that. Yeah, page. That's what you said. I haven't seen really. The main things I saw from it was the red carpet. I was getting some clips of that, which I did not realize they were doing. And then also the fact that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds made their red carpet debut since all the drama coming out.
Weird place to make their red carpet debut, because Ryan Reynolds' ex-wife, Scarlett, her husband is like big time SNL guy.
Yeah, he's still a part of the cast actively. So people were...
That's kind of their territory. She's hosted like 7 times, like something crazy. She has the record for...
Does she?
Most times. I want to say she is up there, if not the most.
I love that. Well, yeah, there was a lot of people that like kind of made little special appearances. Chris Rock, Tina Fey, Eddie Murphy, Kim Kardashian, Will Ferrell, lots of celebrities, but they also included Ryan Reynolds as like a little part of a skit.
Yeah.
And he alluded to the drama and was like, why? What have you heard that's been going on?
Right. And I don't think Blake was in on that, because she looked actually shocked. And some critics on the internet would say, she's not necessarily the best actress. So to have that shocked of face, I wouldn't say that. That's not my opinion. I swear. If it was, I would just say it was my opinion. But that's just something that I heard. I'm sharing with the group so everyone's aware.
Yeah, people were like trying to read into all the body language and all of that.
People were very much so
I get so stressed when I see videos of like body language experts reading stuff, because I'm like, dude, you have no idea. Like, people can be like nervous, or people can be like, there's so many factors. Like, what if they weren't feeling good? Or what if they weren't like, what if they were drinking? What if anything? Like, there are so many factors that go into somebody's body language besides just literally their subconscious of
and we're
what
only
they're
seeing
doing.
Like a snippet from the whole night. You're seeing like one sliver, and when taken out of context.
Right, that stuff stresses me out, because I put myself in the situation and I'm like, oh my God, what would they think of me? They would think I'm a nutcase.
No.
So, I don't know. It's just that stuff stresses me out. But yeah, people were like reading into the whole situation totally. And that was mainly what I've seen from the SNL 50-year
Fair. That was mainly
anniversary.
what I saw as well. Except they did do a concert on Saturday. Like leading up, or yeah, no, on Friday? Maybe
Oh
Friday
yeah,
they
I
did a
did hear
concert.
about that.
Miley Cyrus opened it up and did a great
Which,
job.
by the way, really quickly circling back, we've heard rumors
Oh yeah.
that maybe Miley's gonna do the Super Bowl next year.
I believe it, and I honestly think she would be one of the best Super Bowls yet.
She's finally, I think, like coming back into performing a little bit. Like I feel like she kind of took a break, and
She
now
did,
she's
yeah.
starting to come back a little bit. So I wouldn't be shocked if she did
No,
it.
I wouldn't either. I think it would be a really cool performance. I know some people really
And it would
want
be
her
great
to.
because since the Lions are going to be there, then we
Then
get
you'll
to
get to see it. It'll be great. It'll be a whole thing. I love it.
I hope it
Feels
happens.
fitting.
All right, before we get into these Valentine Shady stories, make sure you join the Patreon bonus content if you want to get a little extra of these shady stories. But for now, let's start with shady story number 1. My boyfriend and I were dating for around 7 months when it got to be the beginning of February and he started acting so strange. I had gifts ready for him and was overall excited to give them to him. I assumed he was just being secretive and didn't want me to suspect any gifts he had gotten me, and I ignored the weird behavior. But exactly 2 days before Valentine's Day, he breaks up with me, and the excuse of it's just not working and he needs to clear his head, classic excuse. I obviously am mad because I bought him all this expensive stuff and now he's broken up with me, but I was way too petty to give them to him, so I returned some and decided to regift others for family members and birthdays that were coming up. I go on to ignore him and spend Valentine's Day with my friends instead of with him, and we had a good time and it really made my day. Again, exactly 2 days after Valentine's Day, he starts calling and apologizing about the sudden break, and he made some stupid excuse about a family member passing away and it messing with his head. Only then did I realize he definitely dumped me so he could avoid buying me anything. And when I called him out on it, he called me materialistic and accused me of using him for his money. His argument against me honestly made me mad, and then he still asked for the gifts I got him because he said he deserved them after I made him sad during the argument. He got blocked, and it's honestly the weirdest and craziest thing someone has done to me during a relationship and Valentine's Day.
Dude, I hate this guy.
That is some twisted, like, classic manipulation of, like, well, no, but you're materialistic and
Yes, but
give me
I
my
want the
gifts.
items. Yeah, how are you about to call somebody materialistic and then demand they give you gifts? That is unacceptable behavior.
I guess it could have been worse if they would have broken up and tried to get back together because they like went on a date with someone else
Oh,
for
that would've
Valentine's
been
Day.
even
When I
worse.
first read that, that's what
where you thought it
that's
was
where my head
going.
was going. So I'm like, okay. But also to just like not want to buy somebody gifts.
To just avoid Valentine's Day by breaking up is so.
That's that is a stretch.
It literally irks me to no end when guys try to say, like, oh, Valentine's Day is just a Hallmark holiday. It doesn't mean anything. It's so stupid. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, just be. I don't know.
It's so simple to like, you don't have to spend a bunch of money to make Valentine's Day a thing. It's more so just like the thought, and
it is.
I mean, that's with everything in life. It's just like the thought that you took the time to think about this person
100%.
for this day, and this person could have got flowers for $10 and
called it
instead
good.
broke up with them to avoid getting them a gift. Or they could have pulled the classic, I mean, this wouldn't have been any better necessarily, but like, why don't we not do gifts?
Yeah.
You know, like people do that. Like, just do that. Like, don't go out of your way to break up and then try to get back together. Now that's embarrassing.
I mean, at least they broke up with you to avoid Valentine's Day instead of just ignoring you all day and then not sending you a gift when you sent them one.
Because that could happen.
That could, in theory, happen to you. And it's not nice when that happens. My current boyfriend would never do that to me.
That's good.
Thanks. Shady story number 2. My shady story takes place on Valentine's Day 2023. I worked in the mall at Build-A-Bear, but on this day, the other store was that other store was short on help, so I was sent to a different location. A guy came in looking to Build-A-Bear for his girlfriend. He had a photo of him and his girlfriend to place a locket on the bear. The girl in the photo was my wife. I didn't let him know that or who I was, and I wanted to keep getting information. He said he was very excited because he just found out that his girlfriend was pregnant and he was going to be a dad. I was shown over 20 plus photos, including the sonogram. He recorded a voice clip with the bear that said, "You are my whole world," and then wrote on a note, "The day we met in March 2020 when you came into Foot Locker to buy your brother's shoes was the best day ever because it brought us together. Just to let you know, we were married since December 2019, so 3 months after our wedding, she met this guy. Also, she told me that she was pregnant in February 2020 before telling him. I confronted her with all of the information, which she said it was a prank. I told him to go to the store you were at for a prank. I filed divorce papers next Monday. She was carrying his child, and while didn't need a DNA test, we both knew it was because we are both Caucasian and the child was black, and it turns out that he wasn't the father either." Oh, happy Valentine's. There was a third man?
When I read this, the way my jaw actually physically opened, I could not believe this. I mean, what a wild
Turn of events.
Well, what a wild way to find out that the person is cheating. Like, he fully came in building a bear for this woman, and then it was his wife, and he's just sitting there looking at all the evidence.
That is divine timing. That is the universe telling you that you need to know, because you weren't even supposed to be at that store. You got moved to that store for that one day for him to come in. And, you know, my recollection of Build-A-Bear Workshop was that there's multiple workers in there. You're not necessarily like going to interact with all of them, but to have a complete interaction with this man, somebody was looking out for you because you needed to get away from that girl.
Yeah, this one was absolutely...
That's crazy.
10 out of 10.
That might be my favorite Shady story yet. That's a good one.
Shady story number 3. It was around Valentine's Day when my ex and I went over to a friend's house to party. Let's call her Alana, and my ex will call him Carl. So myself, Alana, her husband, and Carl and I are partying in her room, which is in the basement of the house. My ex went upstairs to use the washroom while Alana, her husband, and I chit-chatted. Then Alana excused herself to grab another drink and asked if either of us needed a drink while she was upstairs. I was fine, so I replied, "No, I'm good." Her husband replied the same. So off she went to grab a drink for herself. About 2 minutes later, Carl came down the stairs and sat down. Then Alana's husband got up and walked upstairs. The minute he was gone, Carl turned to me and said, "You're never going to guess what just happened to me upstairs." I replied, "What?" Carl proceeds to tell me that Alana had grabbed him by the collar of his shirt and tried to kiss him. He then tells me he pulled away and said, "No way, your best friend is downstairs and I'm in love with her. There's no way I'm kissing you." Alana starts to apologize and begs Carl not to tell me what she had done, knowing I wouldn't be happy, and I had beaten up girls for less when it comes to boyfriends, family, or close friends. So I tell him to pretend like he never told me and I didn't know anything, because I knew one way or another I would hear it from her mouth before confronting her about it. Alana and her husband come back downstairs and we continue to party and play board games as though nothing has happened. Until her husband had to go to the bathroom, so I answer when the opportunity knocks. I pretended like I needed another drink from upstairs, so Alana asked me to grab her one while I'm up there. I said, "Yeah, no problem." I go up the stairs and I stand on the third stair from the top and make it upstairs and make it sound like I go upstairs and close the door. But I stand there quietly and listen. What do you think I hear? I hear Alana begging Carl not to tell me what happened and that she didn't mean to try and kiss him and she didn't want to ruin her and I's friendship. And I was to find out that he would be the one in trouble, but little did she know I already knew. So I flew down the stairs and got in her face yelling, "Tell me what? Don't tell me what?" I told her she was lucky I wasn't a fighter anymore and I didn't roll like that. And I told Carl to pack up what was ours and we left. We still talk every now and then, but aren't close like we used to be.
That's how freaking clever. I thought she was going to go up the stairs to tell the husband so he knew and could intervene on this. But she was even smarter. She stayed, she waited, she was patient, she acted on her opportunity.
That was my first thought too, because I was like, oh, she's about to go tell the husband.
That's what I thought.
That was a smart move on your part. And also, it sounds like you're done with the friendship and relationship. So good clean cut there. Seriously, I mean, it says they still talk every now and then, but aren't as close. I love this. Also, we weren't rating any of them, were we?
No, but I would give, I think, all of these a 10 out of 10.
Dude, I think so too.
These were strong.
I love the Valentine's Day ones, you guys. There's so many other good Valentine's Day ones and our bonus content. So make sure you join in the Patreon if you want to hear those. And we will see you guys in the next episode, which is going to be the last episode of this season. So make sure you come and check that out. We're going to be answering some questions that you guys had on Instagram and Patreon. So if you want to see that, make sure you come and join next week. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.